Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
7:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into your Thursday, September 17th. Hope you're doing well. Along with Johnny B. and Joan Jones, my name is Dan Mandis. Headline from CNN, presidential race remains tight with 47 days to the election. Now, every day, I see different polling that shows different things. National polling, you've got polling for Hispanics, you've got polling for the black community, you've got polling for whatever community in the battleground states. I mean, on and on it goes. There's no other way to say it. Things are really tight. So tight, apparently, that Iran is beginning to panic and is now trying to manipulate our election. Can I just ask this question? And then I'll get into the details. But what does it say about the Biden-Harris administration or the Harris campaign when one of America's biggest enemies clearly wants Kamala Harris to win? Because you know where Donald Trump is. I mean, we speak about this ad nauseum. Donald Trump is all about keeping his boot on the neck of Iran. Sanctions to the point where they can no longer fund the terrorism of Hamas or Hezbollah. That's what Donald Trump does. Now, what does Joe Biden and Kamala Harris stand for? Diplomacy, the lifting of sanctions, allowing Iran to sell billions of dollars worth of oil. That allows Iran to fund terrorism across the world, including terrorist attacks on Israel. And so it's no wonder that Iran, as the story goes, we've been talking about this off and on this morning, Iran hacked into, the emails of the Trump campaign, and they tried to give them to the Harris administration, or I should say the Harris campaign. Now, I don't know what they did, if anything, with the information, but really, to me, that's beside the point. If one of our biggest enemies and one of the biggest supporters and funders of terrorism in our world is clearly trying to help Kamala Harris win, what does that tell you about Kamala Harris? Donald Trump spoke about this last night.
And just today, 3 agencies of the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden administration, the FBI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, they just released a report confirming that Iran actors hacked into the Trump campaign's email accounts and in turn sought to give the hacked materials to the Biden-Harris campaign. They gave them all of the materials because Biden is working with Iran, and Iran doesn't exactly like me because they were ready to make a deal, except we had an election that was rigged and stolen. And look at what's happening to our world now. But no, Iran hacked into my campaign. I don't know what the hell they found. I'd like to find out. Couldn't have been too exciting. But they gave it to the Biden campaign. I can't believe it. Oh, yes, I can. But this is really foreign election interference. This is real election interference, not the phony crap that they've been trying to pin on me with Russia for years.
See, that was one of the things that I thought about was, okay, so is this going to be one of those situations where we can say Iran, because they've been saying Russia for all these years. And I love what Donald Trump says. Now, we can talk about election interference, and I've got some news regarding ABC News coming up because Congress really wants to look at that. But since we're sort of talking about foreign policy and stuff, Joan, you ran a story in the 7 o'clock news that has triggered me once again. And it is a reporter is asking, I guess it's John Kirby, about the exploding pagers, courtesy of Israel, to Hezbollah.
Yeah.
Want me to run that audio?
Yeah, could you?
Here we go.
U.S. officials confirmed to ABC News Israel was behind the pager attack, saying Israel warned Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin an operation was about to take place without giving specifics. At the White House yesterday, officials dodging questions about the attacks.
Blowing up pagers and walkie-talkies. Is this type of warfare acceptable to the United States?
I'm simply not going to be able to address these incidents over the last couple of days in any level of detail.
For the life of me, I don't understand why there is an accusatory tone from that reporter. Is this the kind of warfare that the United States approves of? Of course. We were joking earlier, Johnny B and I were joking earlier about how, you know what? We're actually jealous because that was brilliant. We spoke to Stephen Bucci yesterday about how Israel, and we had more explosions yesterday as well. And so you've got these pagers that Israel intercepted. They put in the explosives into the pagers, then sent them along their merry way to Hezbollah workers in Hezbollah, and they exploded. They're in Lebanon, and so then they send a little tone or whatever it was, a text, and the pagers exploded. Bunch of people died. Bunch of people were dismembered. I'm sorry. I think that's brilliant. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that are saying, yeah, that is brilliant, except for this, accusatory sounding reporter over there at the White House press corps or whoever it was that is asking if the United States stands by this kind of warfare. I think it's a great part of warfare because Israel did what Israel needed to do, and they've been doing that for a long time.
You know who John Brennan is. Correct.
Yeah,
former director.
Of course.
Former director of the CIA.
Yep.
He was just on the CBS morning show, the Today Show. Yeah, that's CBS. Is it CBS?
CBS is Good Morning America.
Okay, so the Today Show.
We have no idea, but it's okay.
Anyway, he was on there.
They all suck, Joan. They all suck.
Yeah, and he was saying that what those incidents of the pagers and the walkie-talkies exploding, he referred to them as the destructive behavior of Israel.
Are you kidding?
He said
John Brennan. Well, it doesn't surprise me knowing John Brennan. But
and the question is what they're doing, what Israel doing, is it going to lead into a larger war? As if Israel doesn't have the right to defend itself from these terrorists that keep aiming at them.
And not to mention terrorists, they follow the rules of war so closely.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Absolutely. The rules of warfare, that is exactly what Hamas and Hezbollah does. So there's clearly a media hatred of Israel. And one of the things that they fail to, here's the other thing. Israel can't win for losing, right? Because if you want to talk about a very specific targeted attack, it doesn't get more targeted than pagers being sent directly to the terrorists and then them exploding.
Yeah.
Now, there was an 8-year-old girl apparently killed, but so Israel can't win for losing because if they bomb Hamas, well, Hamas, they use human shields and they're burrowed underneath schools and hospitals and so forth. So yes, there will be innocent civilians or casualties. Unfortunately, that is just what happens when you're in bed with Hamas. So that's number one. So Israel then decides, okay, you know what? We're not going to, bomb the living crap out of Lebanon. Let's do this. Let's send a targeted attack with pagers directly to the terrorists, which is what they ultimately did. And now they're getting crap for that. If I'm Benjamin Netanyahu, I could give two you-know-whats about what the media says, about what, frankly, if there's people within the Biden-Harris administration that have an issue with this as well. If I'm Israel, I don't care. You have to at some point, and I've learned this as a talk show host for many years, I've learned that you can't pay attention to the stupid. You just can't. You're not going to be able to win with a certain contingency of people, and so you just say, you know what? I don't care if you're happy or not. We have to, Israel has to do what it needs to do to defend itself. And that is what they did with this absolutely brilliant pager attack against a bunch of terrorists in Lebanon. And let's not forget that, as a lot of the Democrats and the media apparently are forgetting, it was Hezbollah, as we pointed out yesterday, that killed, I think it was over a dozen kids on a soccer field in Israel. So Hezbollah is getting what Hezbollah deserves, just like Hamas. You guys want to hear something funny?
Always love funny.
You know that Gavin Newsom over there in California, Gavin Newsom, he has now banned certain AI, specifically apparently AI, because he got upset because people were making him look bad with artificial intelligence. So, of course, now people are going full barrel, right, with the AI making fun of Gavin Newsom. So this morning, I think it was this morning, maybe last night, whenever it was, but yet another Gavin Newsom deep fake has come out. Now, this is, again, he made it illegal in California, but it is circulating online this morning. I posted it on X at Dan Mandis Show. And really, here's the funny thing, though. Whether it's Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom, it is AI, it is fake, but it really is truthful about Gavin Newsom.
Hi, I'm Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. This is a message for the people of America, given in my authentically recorded, non-AI voice. Thanks to my leadership over the last several years, California has become a world leader in extremist, left-wing governance. My policies were so effective that almost 1 million people are now fleeing the state every year.
Fact.
We even ran out of U-Hauls.
Fact.
During the COVID pandemic, I locked everyone in their homes and shut down businesses for months.
Fact.
Not the French Laundry, though. That's my favorite restaurant. Last year, I cleaned up the dangerous, messy streets of San Francisco, because Chinese Communist President Xi was coming, and I really wanted to impress him. He's my boss, after all. This year, I signed legislation that allows me to take custody of your kid if you refuse to give him artificial hormones and chop off his genitals. Because if you don't do that, you're a bigot, and bigots shouldn't be allowed to have kids. I've also led the way in green energy by banning all cars that don't run on electricity. Then I banned almost all the electricity. This is smart leadership. On my watch, the cost of living and homelessness have skyrocketed. Schools are failing. Drug dealers and human traffickers are pouring across the border. And poop has covered the sidewalks of San Francisco. This is the positive, joyful vision we offer as Democrats. That's why I'm enthusiastically endorsing Kamala Harris for president in 2024. She'll do to the country everything I did in California. Anyway, I'm California Governor Gavin Newsom, and I approve this 100% real message, which is a recording of my voice without the assistance of any AI whatsoever. This isn't a deep fake, and you can rest assured that it isn't, because I just signed an unconstitutional law outlawing deep fakes. No one would dare violate it. Thank you, and science bless America.
There you go.
Science bless America.
Science bless America.
That is a classic.
And here's the thing, though. I mean, there's nothing that he said, AI Gavin, there's nothing that AI Gavin Newsom said in that is not true.
That's true.
That's the thing.
Yep.
Everything is true. And I mean, I would think that they would be proud of what they've accomplished in California. I mean, part of these deep fakes, and the reality is kind of like the libs of TikTok. All it is the truth and pointing out the truth.
Yeah.
And if you look at the video, by the way, it's on my X feed at Dan Mandis Show. If you look at the video, the images are real. Just look at California. You've got the drugs. You've got the addicts littering the streets. You've got gangs. You've got homelessness. All of that is taken over. Of course, you have the illegal aliens as well. And so people are moving out, almost 1 million. And so are businesses. They say residents aren't alone in choosing to leave the Golden State. What is opposite of the Golden State? Like, what is a few states? Because clearly California is no longer the Golden State.
The moldy state.
The moldy state.
Yeah.
You know what? All the poop on the sidewalks, you could call it the poopy state.
You sure could.
They say businesses are leaving as well. Stanford University's Hoover Institution reports that 352 companies moved their headquarters from California to a different state between 2018 and 2021, and that is getting worse by the day. The exodus of business indicates a prominent shift in California's economic landscape, which will surely impact employment opportunities, tax revenues, and the overall economic vitality of the state. Factors such as increasingly high operating costs, strict regulations, and concerns over the business climate are cited as reasons companies are choosing to relocate. Finally, they say as businesses look for better conditions elsewhere, California may continue to struggle as it looks to retain its status as a leading hub for innovative and entrepreneurship while experiencing competition from other states. That's what California has done. That's what, and it's not just Gavin Newsom. It is also the people of California voting for Gavin Newsom. Also the California state legislature. The California state legislature is horribly leftist, and they keep voting in the same party time and time and time and time again. It is what they keep doing. So I don't feel sorry for California. I do feel sorry for, the Californians that still live there that might be conservative, but they keep moving out. And I frankly don't blame them.